Now at 5:30, the Sean Diddy Combs trial, one step closer to going to the jury. Closing arguments now officially underway. Welcome back to the 5 o'clock news. I'm Steve Lacey.
And I'm Natasha Verma. The prosecution wrapping up their closing arguments today. Then tomorrow, it's the defense's turn. Okay,
Fox 5's Lisa Evers has been at the courthouse throughout the trial and joins us now live from Lower Manhattan. Lisa.
Well, Steve and Natasha, this was a marathon closing argument that lasted more than 5 hours. The AUSA drilling down on the linchpins of this RICO sex trafficking case, calling Sean Diddy Combs a criminal mastermind who used force to get people to bend to his will. Now, Combs' adult children were here at the courthouse today in a strong show of support for their dad, including his 3 grown daughters, Jessie, Delilah, and Chance. Today was the first time we've seen the girls in weeks since they walked out after hearing sexually explicit testimony. His sons were also on hand for this important day. Inside the courtroom, Combs paid close attention to what was being said, taking notes and passing them to his attorney. As the AUSA tried to convince the jury, participation in freak-offs was forced labor and coercion, not voluntary participation. Once again, the jury was shown the disturbing video of Cassie Ventura's beating in an LA hallway, saying she could not escape him and that the fear of violence was her reality. A former hotel security guard had testified earlier in the trial that he offered to bring her to a safe place and call police, but she told him not to call the cops. Combs is facing 1 count of racketeering, 2 counts each of sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, the defense will have their turn to respond to these closing arguments tomorrow when they give their part of the story, their version of their closing arguments, and the judge is saying that the jury could even be charged tomorrow. Now, joining me to talk more about this is criminal defense attorney Jim Koussouras, who has tried many federal cases. Jim, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lisa.
What do you make of this marathon prosecution case?
Well, in federal court, there are 3 closings. Prosecution goes first, the defense goes second, and then the prosecution does their rebuttal. So normally the initial summation by the prosecution is long as they go through all of the exhibits, all of their arguments, and all of their evidence. I have to say, 5 hours, very long time. I understand the judge had a few breaks. It's very hard to keep a jury's attention for 5 hours.
Even with the little breaks. But let me ask you this. How important are these summations, both for the prosecution and tomorrow for what we're looking at for the defense, in terms of helping the jurors decide which way they're going to vote on these counts?
The summations in a trial are one of the most critical junctures. It is the last opportunity the lawyers have to pull the evidence together, make their arguments in a coherent, cohesive manner. It is very important for the defense tomorrow to rebut the claims made by the prosecution, concede what they will concede, gain the credibility of the jury, and then focus on these 3 sets of charges with the evidence they believe supports an acquittal.
Now, are you surprised by the defense, how they've handled this so far? Just quickly, because we're almost out of time.
No, the defense has, in getting credibility with the jury, they have conceded that some of the conduct here is offensive. You may not like it, but the fact that you may not like certain behavior does not make it a racketeering conspiracy and does not make it the crimes that are alleged by the government. That's very important.
And we'll see what the jury decides. But Attorney Jim Koussouras, thank you so much for being with us. And that's the latest here from the federal courthouse. Back to you in the studio.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.